Most people on this planet refuse to take risks. Anything that they see as predominantly dangerous in their life, they don't want to do. But what they don't realise is that they're taking risks 24/7, 365. Risks are part of your daily life, no matter whether you like it or not. Every time you cross the road, there is that slim chance that you're going to get hit by a car. Every time you're sitting in your house, there is that slim chance that a plane is going to crash and everything around you is going to blow up. Every time you're in your house, there is a small chance that your cooker's going to catch fire, etc. And that's just a few of the risks that I could explain might happen right at this very second. So it mind boggles me. Why do a lot of people say, nah, I never take massive risks? You take a massive risk all the time. You're probably in massive risk right now. With global tensions as high as they are and the world in the current state, there's not a moment where you go completely out of danger. There's always something out there that could kill you with one man's words. There's men out there who are capable of launching nukes, nuclear weapons that would destroy your city before you could even blink. And you say you're not at risk. Now obviously yes, these risks are pretty darn freaking extreme. But even minute things like burning yourself, cutting yourself, breaking your leg, every time you walk, you are taking the risk that you could break your leg. So why do we say to ourselves that we're not going to take risks, even though we take risks all the time? But also we take things into consideration that are probably not going to happen. Some people are so petrified of the unknown to the point where it limits their own life and makes them extremely introverted and incapable of building a career successfully. Building your life's future is all about taking risks. Most millionaires and billionaires will all tell you that the only reason they've got a lot of money right now is because they took risks. They didn't do whatever standard bog Johnny did on this earth. They went a different course. They tried something that not many people had. They did research. They tried things. They got themselves out there and it worked. There was a chance it wasn't going to work, but they still tried. So today, I'm going to talk about risks. I'm going to talk about how to keep yourself safe, but also the idea that being too safe is just going to restrict you. There's a very fine balance nowadays between being safe and overly protective of yourself to the point where you can't even really live a life. What's up guys, welcome back to the Focus Future channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope we're all safe, happy, looking after our well-being. Today we're going to go over risks and how to stay safe and how to balance that fine balance between safety and, you know, being a bit ambitious, pushing the boundaries a bit, exploring with your life a tiny bit, because it's not an easy balance to keep. So if you're interested in all that, stay tuned. If not, please use the link in the top of my description to go and learn a bit more about me. But apart from that, let's jump into this video and go and find out how to get that balance on track. Risk takers, or as known as adrenaline junkies. The type of people you look at and think, oh my god, you are freaking nuts. Or, oh my god, I would never do such a thing. They are the type of people this video kind of wants you to be. The type of person When you ask him if he wants to jump off a plane and do, free fall, he's like, "Oh yes, boys, I'm fully up for that," and doesn't even seem slightly fearful about it. The type of person who will go into something that you deem quite scary without any hesitation. These are the people who take extreme risks to live a life. The people who get a thrill out of doing something that puts them in danger. But most of the time you'll find, these are the people who live the most happiest and fulfilled lives. Because they don't hold back. Now, I'm not saying if you want to be a casual, sofa potato and you want to watch movies all day, that you're not going to be happy. Because you can be. If that's your thing, I'm sure you'd be pretty happy sitting in front of a TV 24/7, 365. But for a lot of people out there, the reason they're not happy and not fulfilled is because they're not getting themselves out into the world. They're being too restrictive. And we come back to that balance of being safe, but also getting out there and really going for what you want. Exploring, seeing new hobbies you could pick up on, and seeing how you can really push the boat of life. How far can you get to danger before you're about to fall off the edge? Adrenaline junkies do this pretty simply, but it's time for you to learn how to do this without dying. Now, I'm not saying that I'm today going to tell you to go do free falling off a plane that's at like 15,000 feet and, be perfectly fine and your happiness and dreams will be fulfilled. No. Today, I want to motivate you to get out there and do something a bit out the ordinary. In the modern world, we all live a very stereotypical life, especially in Britain. I can't really speak for any other countries, but in Britain, we live this very standard life, and a lot of our life is routine. We do the same thing over and over and over again, and some people just seem to never get bored of it. But then these people who just do these standardised jobs of 9 till 5, just accepting what they have and not really going any further, also are the people who complain they're depressed, unhappy, anxious, and don't feel like they're fulfilled. And they start asking themselves why. The problem with today's society is we have all become so focused on this thing called success. On this thing called making sure I can withhold myself in the most normal way. It's kind of become a target for our young people to get into 9 to 5 jobs. Once you've got a job, your life's set. Once you've got them good GCSE grades, your life's set. No more unhappiness for you. But as crazy as this sounds, in reality, just because you've got that 9 to 5 job doesn't mean you're gonna be happy. Happiness is not achieved through getting quote-unquote success. Or in other words, getting what society postponed to you as what you need. What society postpones to you is what is going to allow the economy to go crazy. Not necessarily give you happiness. To be happy, you have to take risks. And oh boy, my friend, it's not going to be easy. Now again, I don't mean jumping off planes. But there are some things you have to do to be happy that are a tiny bit out of your comfort zone. Going away from the stereotypical life that you currently probably live to a life that is in your head. To a life that when you sit down at night, you dream of. To work, to progress, to ambiv towards that life. To really focus on what you want. But the problem is, what you probably want is a very, kind of idealistic life. And to get there, you're probably going to have to take a hell of a lot of risks. But who said risks could not turn out positive? Now, obviously, there are, some restrictions on how many risks you can take. If there is like a 95% chance you're going to die, probably don't do it. But that doesn't mean to say you can't start your own business. I hear so many people nowadays, like, I have this dream business I want to start up. I have these dream things I want to do. And I always have one question in the back of my head. Why are you not doing them? And their answers normally go along the lines of, oh man, it's too risky, I could lose this, I could lose that, this could go wrong, I'm not intelligent enough, I don't look good enough. Or, the typical one of, well, I'm never going to get there. And then I start to dig into, well, what told you that all these things were going to go wrong? And why do you suddenly think that you're not good enough? And they don't normally have an answer for me. The only reasons they have is that they're like, well, none of the people around me are doing all these things. All the depressing articles I've read online tell me how badly these things can go. And you've got to be really lucky to be able to start your own business properly. You've got to be really lucky to be able to do all these amazing things. And I'm not lucky. Where did luck come into my life? And that just brings a grin to my face, because it just proves to me how scared people really are nowadays. How consumed they are by the idea that they'll only achieve what the minimalists say life should be. The minimum regiment of what life holds. Getting a 9-to-5 job, getting a house and living with a wife is the standard life that most people think they're going to live. Some people don't get that far, some people do. But there's like 1% of the population, normally the happiest, who go a completely different direction and do what the fuck they want. Most of the time, are very successful at it too. Now, when they go on these different routes, it doesn't mean that they were gifted with these amazing talents. They were gifted with something that magically made them these great human beings. They worked their asses off to get to where they were. To do all these amazing, ambitious, risky things. And because they did that, they were happy, they were successful, they were fulfilled. They achieved their dreams and they kept going. Because just because you've hit a dream doesn't mean that suddenly your life's over, that's it, I've hit my dreams, I can sit back, watch TV now. My life will continue to be amazing. I think I have a good tip. Life is all about fulfillment. But the problem is the way you're fulfilled changes all the time. The things you want out of life changes every single week, maybe every single month. And you have to adapt to them changes to remain fulfilled. But that doesn't mean them fulfillments are pointless. And by being fulfilled, I mean going for them dream things that you've always wanted, doing these amazing things, working towards what you've always really wanted, but have always put off. That inner message inside you that you call a dream, that in your head is really risky, I really can't financially do that, I'm never going to get there, I'm not lucky enough, is probably your key to happiness. You're just terrified to take the step to go do it. And this is where the fine balance of safety and risk-taking comes into play. If you know something's gonna be risky, but you also know it's gonna make you happy in the long term if you're successful, it's time to add up the risks, create solutions for every single one of them risks, and plan how you're going to achieve your goal without them risks dragging you down. The archway of being effective, but not letting your inner fears of I'm not lucky enough postpone them. So you can achieve that goal at the end of starting your own business, jumping off a plane, or whatever crazy things you have in mind. It's all about planning and taking risks. Preparing for the worst, but hoping and getting the best. But the problem is, if you let that risk be a wall to your life, you'll never go anywhere. You will be stuck at that 9-to-5 job, that continuous cycle of, well, tomorrow I'll be happy. I've heard so many people on their deathbeds be like, the biggest regret I have now, on my deathbed, the minute I'm gonna die, is not that I'm dying, that I didn't do the things I really wanted to do in the time I was alive. Because all I said to myself was, I'll do it tomorrow. I have more time. I'll be happy tomorrow, or when I leave school, or when I get a house. The sad fact is, ladies and gentlemen, your life is never perfect. And you have to keep going. And to keep going, you have to take risks. To get what you want should be your main goal. Obviously, as long as you're not breaking the law and you're going within society perspectives. The chances are the biggest thing you have in your head right now, the biggest ambition you have, is probably the biggest risk you have, but it's also probably the one thing that will make you fulfilled enough to be truly happy. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's identify that really good goal, that one thing you've always wanted to do. Let's step over that little line of risk and go and achieve it. Because I can promise you, you will feel more fulfilled in life by working towards something rather than waiting for tomorrow. Because no matter how much time you sit there and hope for another day, the time still ticks. And at some point, you'll be sitting on your deathbed, reflecting on what you did. And the last thing you want is to have to say to the doctor next to you and your family and relatives that the one thing you regret is you didn't do what you want. And the reason you didn't do what you want is because you decided to not take risks. You don't want that. It's time to come over them risks and go for your goals.